By the time I was 21, I had written my first book. And by the time I was 22, I had created a six-figure income. And I don't say that to brag or boast. I actually give credit to a practice called semen retention. And I want to explain in this video how semen retention helped me tap into my purpose at a fairly young age and create what I've created so far through the power of the Lord, through the power of the Holy Spirit, God, divine, whatever you want to call it, and how that all intertwines and comes together, and ultimately transmuting your sexual energy into your purpose is what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So when I was around like 19, this is when I started the semen retention journey. It's when I learned about it. I came across some videos just like you're watching this video right now. And I remember listening to a guy talking about how you have to save your seed and we have to stop wasting it. And it's like, it's a terrible practice to your body, mind, and spirit to be constantly, watching those websites and wasting your energy. And it stuck with me, and it really resonated with me. I knew in my spirit that he was speaking truth. So I started practicing semen retention, and I would go a couple weeks here and there. And then one time I went like a month, and I noticed that my energy was increasing. I was feeling better. I was feeling stronger. I was feeling more clear-minded, and I started to become more creative. And how it initially expressed itself was creating an Instagram page. And this Instagram page, I was just exposing truth. I was exposing all the deceptions that I was learning. I was basically a conspiracy page. So some of you guys, if you've been watching me for a long time, you remember. Now, when I was exposing truth, I was also, practicing semen retention. I was teaching people to avoid, watching those websites and to conserve their energy and all that stuff. But it was a journey. It was on and off. I was never like on 100% on the path. Now is the best I've ever been. But back then it was on and off, on and off, on and off. I would go a month, I would go a couple months, I would go 2, 3, 4 months, I would go a couple weeks, and then I would keep falling back into it. But as I started to conserve my energy, the longer period of time, the longer I would go, I would notice myself, starting to create new things, new types of posts. At one point, I started recording videos. I was not very good at recording videos. I've came a long way. But when you conserve that energy, it has to express in some way. And that's really the main thing I want to focus on in this video. It has to find expression, because if not, then it's going to burn up inside of you. You're going to fall back into your old patterns, your old lusts. You're going to waste your energy on temporary pleasure. And a lot of times, if you pay attention, most people waste their energy on, they indulge in things like video games, watching the websites and ejaculating and scrolling through social media and just things that don't actually result in anything in the future. It's just all temporary gain, instant gratification, and it is not spiritual. It's feeding the flesh, our selfish lower nature animal desires. Now, there has to be a balance. So I'm not saying like, video games are bad or, smoking and drinking. I mean, these are the things people do. But if you avoid these things, if you resist them, and you genuinely want to tap into your purpose and your spiritual power and discover what you're here for on this earth, then you will realize that the energy will naturally express itself in a unique way for each individual. Everybody watching this video, it's most likely going to be different. For me, the energy was expressed in a book. That book was called Ancient Manifestation Secrets. I was teaching people about manifestation and the law of attraction. And then it expressed in some online programs where I started teaching people and coaching people for longer periods of time on manifestation, law of attraction. And then it eventually turned into my next book, Enhance Your Life from Within, and my online programs and such for meditation, which is called Inner Transformation, as you can see right here. And this all happened because I was conserving my sexual energy. I wasn't wasting it. Now, if you don't know what your purpose is, I would just suggest that you look at your life and see, are you wasting your energy? Are you indulging in things that only result in temporary pleasure, immediate gratification? Social media, video games, maybe you're spending a lot of time smoking, drinking, eating unhealthy, hanging out with the wrong group of people. If you're spending your energy doing these things, then you're not going to be able to tap into your purpose. It's fairly simple. Just like if you have a lot of money, where you spend that money is going to result in the quality of your life. So if you're spending your energy, which is even more important than money, if you're spending your energy in the wrong places, then you're going to see the fruits of that. And the fruits of that are, well, it just depends on what you're doing. I'm not going to go through every single scenario here. But ultimately, what it's about is transmuting that energy, which is your sexual energy. That's what it is. Physically, it's semen, but spiritually, they call it your chi, or in the Eastern cultures, your prana, or your life force energy. This is the true spiritual essence of who you are. And wasting it is not what we should be doing. However, if you look at the society that we live in, that we were born into, unfortunately, they glorify wasting our energy. They market it, they advertise it. They want our attention, they want our energy. If you guys just notice, those websites are free. So who's the product? You are the product. They want your energy. And when they get your energy, they get you continuously coming back, and they feed off of this. And if we give it to them, then we're allowing people that don't care about us to feed off of and benefit from our energy. And that is not what us being, people that want to be more like Christ, men of God, women of God, we should not be here to just feed the energy of Satan, is what they would call it, or the evil, negative, dark force of this world. And they're just going to continue feeding off of our energy if we continue giving in and allowing them to, and feeding into the dark system. We're called to be lights in this world. In order to be a light in this world, Jesus even says in the parable with the 10 women and the oil in their lamps, you have to have oil in your lamp. That oil is the sexual energy. Oil is mentioned all throughout the Bible. The men of God in the Old Testament were all anointed. And what were they anointed with? Oil. They were anointed with oil on their heads. This is the sexual energy as it travels up the spine and it anoints you in the third eye. It's the spiritual science behind it. I have yet to make a video on that explaining it thoroughly, but I plan to in the future. Recently, I've been just making these videos, just speaking my mind. I enjoy it. They're easier to put out. I don't have to do a whole bunch of editing. And I think you guys enjoy them as well. But yeah, transmute the sexual energy into your purpose. It's the only way you're going to figure out what your purpose is and what you're here to do spiritually. What you're here to do that's going to fulfill you, not that's just going to make you feel good here and there, like this cycle of pleasure and suffering, which I'll talk about in another video, probably the next video. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you'd like me to make any videos on any other topics, feel free to drop those suggestions in the comments, and leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Much peace and love.